right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro. Let's go, let's go. I'ma get, when I flow, I'ma hit, and I know I'm the kid, I'm a soul, don't forget, I'ma blow up with it, got my flow so fitted, here we go, just beginning, yeah, I throw every inning, got my flow so legit, all I know is my shit, here I go, they can whip, Post Malone in this bitch, rock star making hits, got guitar in this shit, leaving scars cause we lit, all these bars that I spit, yeah. Let's go! Let's go! If I know what I want, then I know what I get. If I go, they can win, cause they know I get lit. I'm a pro, not a myth, and my flow got some wit. Never slow, drink a fit. I get hype, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. I get hype for this shit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. I get hype for this shit. That's right. I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype. I could do this all night, cause I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right. And I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro. Let's go, let's go! Yeah! Let's go! If I go, I'ma get. When I flow, I'ma hit.
Silence. The sound of 2020. Filled with such sorrow and loss, but WWE kept our spirits up, putting on shows with zero fans, creating a thunderous experience for us to feel something. This ship symbolizes more than you really know. Crossing one sea to the next, entering a new chapter of humanity, staying afloat, and getting to the next destination. The sad 2020 mission will forever be imprinted on our stories. But it's not the end. Today is the dawn of a new beginning, a new story. The COVID era ends tonight. That ship has sailed. Tonight, we're back. Tonight, we're back in business. Tonight, we're ready and back for WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Angle Podcast, WrestleMania, full review and results show.
Oh, wrestling fans! Don't you dare be sour! Clap for the Angle Podcast!
It's the Angle Podcast! How exciting!
The Angle Podcast. Son of my God, this is the one.
Become the Angle Podcast. Thank you so much.
And feel the pow! Wow! Yeah.
There is no better way to kick off this huge show than with a musical performance. So here to perform his new hit track, WrestleMania 37, which is now available on Spotify and Apple Music, and you can also check out the video on YouTube. Here is hip-hop recording artist Ant Won't Stop.
Let's switch it up. Business is picking up. Don't interrupt or you'll get stuck in the dust. Like we discussed, I trust my intuition, but I never trust my competition. Even the slightest recognition can compromise a vision. I keep it moving, not approving of no opportunists. Yes, I'm a fan of the movement, don't act stupid. I don't need no endorsement, that's not important. I'm the head of the table, so you shouldn't be talking. I'm not a teacher, but you feel like my students, because everything I do or say has such a great influence. Legit boss, don't jump to the wrong conclusions. It's amusing that they wanna see me losing, cause I'm the MVP. I know these people envy me, but I've been showing my brutality since I was NXT. Got a couple hits, lot of haters hoping I miss, because I'm working towards my moment of bliss, cause I was chosen to spit. You better quit, I'm controlling the biz, so make it easy on yourself and submit. It's no conspiracy. People be hearing me, fans cheering me, jealous people be fearing me. It's pretty clear to me, I'm in high demand. Here comes the money like I got bands in Switzerland. I drew a picture of the champions I wanna see. Drew on the beat with A&T, these other rappers weak. The crowd's crazy, yeah. WrestleMania. Y'all been gone for a while, I ain't blaming ya. It's been a year, so it's a pleasure reacquainting ya. I wanna welcome everybody to the stadium. The crowd's crazy, yeah. WrestleMania. Y'all been gone for a while, I ain't blaming ya. It's been a year, so it's a pleasure reacquainting ya. I wanna welcome everybody to the stadium. Welcome back. A&T on the track.
And just like that, WrestleMania 37 Night 1 is in the books. And my God, what an event it was. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Angle Podcast, full review and results show of Night 1 of WrestleMania 37. I'm your host, Joey Karni, and if you haven't already, like this video. Please subscribe to this channel, please. We are nearing 400 subscribers, and it is with your help and your support that I can get there and then move on to the bigger goal of 1,000 subscribers. Now, this show tonight really did justice for WrestleMania, being back in business, being back in front of a live audience. So many things happened tonight. We just went off the air minutes ago, and I'm still trying to process everything we just saw. We have new champions. We have endings of stories. Really, tonight has just been a phenomenal night. To really start off in the proper way, we need to talk about what happened at the beginning of the show, and that was a weather delay, nonetheless. Really messing up the beginning of I got something in my eye, sorry. Really messing up the beginning of the show. But like what Caleb Braxton said, we were gone nearly a year from WrestleMania and a live crowd. So a few minutes is not going to do anything until, the weather clears up and they can get the show started. It took about half an hour or so. But in that time, WWE did what they do best. They make the best out of every bad situation. Doing interviews with superstars backstage, almost having a brawl breakout between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre before their match, really making the rivalry more intense. Seth Rollins cutting a great promo, The New Day cutting a great promo, Braun Strowman cutting a great promo. Everybody that cut a promo probably did the best microphone work that we've seen from WWE over the last year. I mean, this was just some of the best work I've seen in quite some time, and it was all because of a weather delay. Like I said, WWE making the most out of a bad situation, just using these interview times to hype up the superstars, but also hype up the crowd, and that's exactly what they did, leading to the first match of the night, which was the WWE Championship match. Now, everybody thought Drew McIntyre would be the first one to make his grand entrance on the WrestleMania stage, being that we are back in front of a crowd, 25,000 plus members of the WWE Universe. But it was Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan, the hosts of WrestleMania 37, who made their entrance, tried to hype up the crowd. It was a little awkward, not going to lie. I did not really understand their dynamic. I don't think they had a dynamic, to be honest with you. We got through it, and we finally started the WWE Championship match, which was, by the way, one of the best matches of the entire night. In a shocking fashion, Bobby Lashley defeated and retained his WWE Championship over Drew McIntyre, not by a tap out, not by a pinfall. Drew McIntyre literally passed out from the Hurt Lock, making the Hurt Lock now probably the most devastating, one of the most devastating and strongest moves in all of WWE. I was shocked. I had literally 100% of my confidence on Drew McIntyre winning just because of everything that's happened over the last year. Being that he won the 2020 Royal Rumble, being that he won the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar in under 5 minutes in front of nobody. I really thought, and everybody thought, he'd get his moment to win the championship in front of people. But that did not happen. We saw Bobby Lashley retain the WWE Championship, and quite honestly, I would rather have Bobby Lashley as the WWE Champion right now over Drew McIntyre, because we've had Drew McIntyre for WWE Champion as WWE Champion for almost a year prior to The Miz cashing in. Bobby Lashley, I think, has a lot of more momentum going right now, and he's just breaking this. He's just starting his WWE Championship reign. So I think WWE made the right call, making him more of a heel. It can continue the story just because McIntyre can say he never tapped out, he was never pinned, so he's owed a rematch. So maybe we'll get another Clash of the Titans, sort of say, at Money in the Bank, which is the next pay-per-view. I believe it's May 16th. But nonetheless, this was one of the best matches on the entire card. Bobby Lashley retaining his WWE Championship over Drew McIntyre. Now, the second match of the night, and is the match that everybody just really had a lot of negative comments on, and that was the number one contendership tag team Turmoil, where the winners become the number one contenders for the women's tag team titles. They face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax tomorrow night for those very titles. We had the match start out with Billie Kay and Carmella, and they took on Naomi and Lana. I think it was Billie Kay got a pin over Naomi in very quick fashion. It was probably a couple of minutes, and then we had I believe it was, who was it? The Riot Squad were out next. They pinned Billie Kay and Carmella, and then we had out Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and then it was Tamina, Snuka, and Natalya, I believe. That was the order of them. But a lot of people were just very, I guess, unhappy with this match because it was all over the place. Even the ending, the announcer made the wrong call, and he announced that the Riot Squad had won, and they didn't. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it yet and you're watching this. Yeah, so that match was actually, I thought it was a decent match for what it was, a tag team turmoil, or tag team, whatever you want to call it, turmoil match. Natalya and Tamina finally getting that big moment at WrestleMania. And honestly, the whole match itself doesn't compare to what happened at the end of this match. And it's very, very significant, and I think it should be talked about more than anything. Probably one of the most talked about things tonight. It deserves an all amount of respect. It was the ending, the finish to that match. Liv Morgan was down. Natalya had her ready for the sharpshooter. And instead of putting her in the sharpshooter to get the tap out submission win, to have her WrestleMania moment, she tagged in Tamina Snuka, let Tamina Snuka go to the top rope, pay homage to her father, Jimmy Snuka, and take the victory, get the pin for her team, having a beautiful emotional moment in the ring. Natalya Neidhart, man, I said it on the pre-show, she is the backbone and the foundation to the women's division across WWE. She is one of the best female wrestlers of all time. What she did tonight, whether it was planned or whether it was candid, she deserves an all amount of respect for what she did. Tamina Snuka being able to finally have a WrestleMania moment. We saw how much it meant to her at the end of that match, really breaking down in the ring to her knees, crying. A really beautiful moment. Despite all the negativity that I saw fans online talking about they don't deserve it. I don't know who you are, who put you in charge to claim that they don't deserve it. Those two women have fought for everything in their careers. They've let everybody go ahead of them, just like we saw Natalya do tonight, always paying it forward. I think tomorrow night when they face Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, they are going to become the new women's tag team champions because they deserved it, they earned it, and they are the foundation of the entire women's division. Their legacies and everything combined, balled up to one. They are the women's you could say women's whole women's division. So honestly, it was a decent match. I love the finish to that match. Like I said, it was just that was a moment. Natalya really saying, you know what, I'm gonna let Tamina get this. Tags Tamina and lets her have her moment. And just a beautiful emotional moment to close out that match. But tomorrow night, like I said, Tamina, Snuka, and Natalya are the number one contenders for the women's tag team titles. They face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax tomorrow night for night 2 of WrestleMania 37. Now, the next match on the card, quite possibly the best match of the entire night. Quite honestly, it might be the best match of the entire WrestleMania weekend. It was Cesaro taking on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins came out to a new remix theme song of Burn It Down, which was pretty badass if you ask me. It was a really, really cool theme. Cesaro coming out to his first ever WrestleMania entrance, having his first ever singles match at WrestleMania. This was just, I mean, the writing was on the wall. And after this match, you have to say that Cesaro was probably the MVP of this entire night. He deserves a major push. Whatever comes next, he fully deserves. He fully deserved that moment he had tonight. We saw how much it meant to him when he got the win over Seth. He was down on his knees. He just took it in, was emotional. I believe for everyone tonight, this night was emotional just because of, one, it was their first night back in front of a live audience. Two, just being in the WrestleMania environment. It's been something that people have been craving for so long. You have to think, like, we as fans really wanted to have, the moment back where we're there, we're chanting, we're this, we're that, we're involved in the audience. But for them, it's probably much harder because their job is based upon our reactions. So it was probably so much harder for them to be able to do their job properly because they feed off the energy, they feed off the crowd reaction. So for them to do, what they did over the last year without audience, and now looking at it a little differently now, I so appreciate, and I think you should too, appreciate the work that they have done. Not just WWE, but all the companies combined, working with no audience. It's like, I mean, it's pretty much like doing your job in the dark. Like, a lot of people just can't do it. Fortunately for us, all wrestling companies were able to do it, and I applaud everyone who's been able to do it over the last year in the pandemic. But Seth Rollins, Cesaro, like I said, match of the night in my opinion. Cesaro getting a huge win over Seth Rollins. We saw Seth Rollins do a 360 corkscrew off the top rope, something I don't think I've ever seen him do before. Phenomenal move. Cesaro hitting 23 swings on Seth Rollins. What was the airplane spin with no hands? He just had Seth on his neck, just spinning with I don't know how he really is the Swiss cyborg. And those two together, just like I said on the pre-show, they have such a great relationship out of the ring, such great chemistry out of the ring, that it only makes it better for what we get to see in the ring. Cesaro and Seth Rollins, fantastic match of the evening for night 1. Probably will be one of the top matches for the entire weekend. Just I can't say anything more about this match besides it just was so damn good. And Cesaro, the whole Cesaro section in Raymond James Stadium, but all across the world, I know we're holding up their signs, either virtual or in person, really wanting the next step for Cesaro. And I think tonight he just got to that next level. Seth Rollins, Cesaro, match of the night. Cesaro getting a huge win over Seth. Now the Raw Tag Team Championship match. AJ Styles and Omos taking on the New Day and Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I tweeted it out earlier at the beginning of that match. Superstars are always looking for WrestleMania moments, but I don't think there's anyone who has more WrestleMania or better WrestleMania moments than Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods got stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin when it was the New Day. What was it? The New Day and when it was like Sheamus, Rusev, Wade Barrett, and Alberto Del Rio. I forgot their group name, but it was Mick Foley, Stone Cold, and Shawn Michaels who ran out to the ring, did some stuff with the New Day. Xavier Woods got stunned by Stone Cold. WrestleMania 35. that moment of Kofi Mania, Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship, everybody crying in the ring, Xavier, a part of that moment, a big part of that moment. So he has had some phenomenal WrestleMania moments. And tonight, just adding to that legacy. I mean, just a great, great match, because we didn't know what we were going to get from Omos. And honestly, it was more physical than I thought. I thought it'd be like a squash where he comes in and just does, one or two moves, but he was actually in there for, a little bit of time doing some things. Kofi Kingston took the loss. We have new Raw Tag Team Champions in AJ Styles and Omos. I mean, this match really couldn't go any other way. This guy is 7 foot tall, almost 400 pounds. It's his in-ring debut at WrestleMania. You really can't have him lose. I mean, so it made sense. AJ Styles is now a Grand Slam WWE champion, adding yet another thing to his resume. So congrats to him on that. Congrats to him in almost becoming the new Raw Tag Team Champions. I think right now, because Raw has 0 tag teams, that Omos and AJ Styles, just because AJ wasn't doing anything really on the roster, put him into a tag team with Omos. We have a new tag team now, and I think it's going to be very, very entertaining until Omos, gets so over and he has to get rid of AJ. If that's where it leads, I don't know. But I think this is a great call. Obviously, the New Day beat a lot of people. Were like, I was one of them too, that were really upset that Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, when they were part of the Hurt Business, lost the Raw Tag Team titles to the New Day. We were confused as to why that happened. They were having such a great run, but it makes sense, because if you were to have them in this match and lose, they just really get buried. But if you have the New Day do it, where New Day can take a loss and go back on Monday Night Raw and act like everything is fine, that is completely, that's fair. That's what it is. So to have them take the loss, Cedric and Shelton lose to the New Day, so the New Day could be the ones to lose to AJ Styles and Omos, I think just made the most sense. Now looking at it, the long-term booking, it was a great move, despite not understanding it at the moment, but the payoff came tonight. Omos and AJ Styles are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. It isn't WrestleMania if there is not an extreme part of the show, and that was the steel cage match between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. This match really was back and forth. Shane really was in charge or in most of the match. We had Elias and Jackson Ryker come out and attack Braun with a chair early before he got into the cage. Braun literally ripped the cage open, like just ripped it open, like pretty much saying that the monster among men is officially back. Braun Strowman looking great in that match. I think that there's a lot of big things ahead of Braun Strowman. This is what he needed. He needed that match with Shane. He needed that feud with Shane. He needed this match, the moment, the whole thing, to really just, smack the card back in its head and say, listen, I'm Braun Strowman. I'm here. Last year, WrestleMania, he lost to Goldberg, being the Universal Champion. This year, I think he's finally finding his way back to somewhere. We don't know where, but I think Braun Strowman looks really, really strong after tonight. Moment of the entire match, he friggin' ripped Shane McMahon off the cage. He did a flip like off the cage, landed. I have to say, there's no one like Shane McMahon who can do these spots, especially at his age. I mean, it's just incredible. Shane McMahon comes in, a couple times a year, if that, to do, some spots, and he really gives back to the business, giving back to help get Braun over. I think this is a great way to do that for Braun. The whole stupid thing for this feud really didn't, like I said on the pre-show, the prediction show, it could have gone so many other directions. This is what we got. And I honestly think they made the best of it. They made the most of it by doing what they did tonight. Shane going off the cage, Braun getting the win, and saying he did it for everyone who's ever been bullied. Another great bullying story, coming to a head at WrestleMania. We saw it done with Nia Jax before. Now we're seeing it happen with Braun Strowman. Payoff was great. Honestly, can't complain about it. So far, the matches we've talked about have all been great. Now, I do want to take a break right now. This next video you're going to see is the guest announcement for who will be on the Angle podcast this upcoming Tuesday on April 13th. You're not going to want to miss it. It is a tell-all interview with this guy.
just one man, but I'm the one man band. We're not astray, we're now just where we stand. We'll clean this mess up that you made.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. You are seeing that perfectly clear. It is true. Heath Slater, baby. It will be on the Angle Podcast this upcoming Tuesday in a tell-all interview. We talk about, being released from WWE during the COVID pandemic, winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championship with Rhino, being offered a contract to come back when he cut that promo with Drew McIntyre during a Monday Night Raw, how Drew McIntyre called him to come and do that, to beg him. I'm not going to tell you the story. You have to check out the interview on Tuesday. We talk about 3MB, his injury, signing with Impact Wrestling, all things related to Heath Slater. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a tell-all interview. It'll be available this Tuesday, April 13th, across all streaming podcast platforms and the place you're watching right now, the Angle Podcast on YouTube. Amazing interview. You don't want to miss it. Heath Slater on Tuesday on the Angle Podcast. Now, if you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Joey Karni. This is the Angle Podcast full review and results show for WrestleMania 37, night number 1. It is just too big, too good for one night. They split it up into 2 nights. Probably one of the best decisions WWE's made in the last couple of years in regards to WrestleMania. And I think tonight has been a phenomenal, fantastic, incredible, I don't know how you can say it, was really, really great match, great night. We started off the night with Vince McMahon coming out, thanking the fans, welcoming them back, everybody on the stage, BB Rexa performing, a touching song, and people were crying on the ramp. I saw Rhea Ripley having tears in her eyes. Obviously, Roman Reigns was there in a suit. You got to be the heel. But everybody was on the stage. Vince McMahon doing a great job welcoming everybody back. It was probably the biggest moment, I think, of the entire night. Was that the moment of the night? Vince McMahon out on the stage with everybody. We talked about the WWE Championship match. Bobby Lashley defeated Drew McIntyre in a shocking match, probably the most shocking match of the entire night. Nobody expected that. I mean, at least some did. I didn't. I thought Drew would get his moment at WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley makes Drew McIntyre pass out from the Hurt Lock and retains the WWE Championship. Natalya and Tamina Snuka getting a win in the tag team gauntlet, tag team turmoil match. They go on tomorrow to night number 2 of WrestleMania 37 to compete against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag team titles. Big moment we need to all talk about. Natalya, instead of having her WrestleMania moment, tagged in Tamina to let her have hers. Emotional moment after the match. We really need to praise Natalya a lot more, especially for what she did tonight for Tamina Snuka. Like I said, Natalya and Tamina going on to night 2 to compete for the women's tag team titles. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Cesaro getting a huge win over Seth Rollins. 23 swings. Just back and forth crazy action. Match of the entire night thus far, in my opinion. Cesaro getting a huge win over Seth freaking Rollins. By the way, debuting a remix version of Burn It Down. Now, the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Omos and AJ Styles become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. They defeat the New Day. Great in-ring debut for Omos. The crowd was into it. They were chanting for him against the New Day, someone we haven't seen in years. This may be a sign that the New Day is going to take a heel turn. Who knows? But whatever it is, we have new Raw Tag Team Champions. We have a new Raw Tag Team in the division, which makes it more interesting. And I'm excited to see what WWE does creatively with AJ Styles and Omos as the new Raw Tag Team Champions. Big announcement made during the show right around this match. WWE 2K22 is coming back this year. They said coming soon. It's probably going to be this year. They had Rey Mysterio and Cesaro featured in the commercial. The graphics look absolutely fantastic. I hope it is as updated as ever. The last 2K game really failed miserably. They didn't even do one for 2021. But for what it is, I'm excited. 2K22 coming very soon, announced during WrestleMania. Also, another promo video was put out for WrestleMania 38, which will be in Dallas, Texas. Stone Cold Steve Austin was all over that promoting the event. It can only be predicted that The Undertaker will headline that WrestleMania class Hall of Fame, the class of 2022. I see Jofo in the ring is here. He says Brock Lesnar has to return to face Bobby Lashley. I mean, Bobby Lashley retaining the WWE Championship tonight, it only leads to that. They're probably in talks with Brock to sign. If not, he has already signed. And I wouldn't be surprised if Brock returned tomorrow on Monday Night Raw as the Monday, not tomorrow, on in 2 days from now, Monday Night Raw. Surprise the crowd. We know the Raw after WrestleMania is always the biggest Raw of the year. So there is a huge chance that we see Brock Lesnar come back, just like he did in 2012, the night after WrestleMania, when The Rock defeated John Cena. So there's really big potential here. Night 1 of WrestleMania 37 concluding a few minutes ago, 15, 20 minutes ago already. And we're talking about it all right now. Now, I did say on my prediction in previous show earlier today, there were a lot of reports or rumors going around. Is Becky Lynch going to come back? Where the hell is Charlotte Flair? Why is Bayley down on the card? We saw her a few times tonight. She was ding dong hello with the NWO backstage, trying to too sweet everybody. We saw her by the commentary booth getting involved. Really having a segment that I thought would be going to R-Truth, if you ask me. But a lot of people are asking, where the hell is Jeff Hardy? Yeah, a lot of things. And this is the first WrestleMania in a long, long time without the likes of John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Stone Cold, Triple H, The Undertaker, Goldberg, like all these names. So it only leads to speculation that there is obviously a night 2 tomorrow, but also we have Monday and Friday night SmackDown next week. There are still room for surprises. Those are the Monday night after WrestleMania, like we said, is the biggest show of the year for Monday Night Raw. So we never know what's going to happen. I do want to talk about next, probably the biggest thing I was impressed with tonight. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest getting a win over The Miz and Morrison. Bad Bunny having the entrance of the entire night, coming in on that truck. I mean, like, that was just so freaking cool. And honestly, he deserved that huge entrance with the pyro and everything. Like I said, having the biggest, baddest entrance the entire night tonight. And it was well deserved. He moved to the PC he moved to Orlando a few months ago, has been training every week at the PC, the Performance Center down in Orlando. Has been on Monday Night Raw every week, taking bumps, getting hit, doing what he has to do to be involved with WrestleMania and this match with Miz and Morrison, doing a phenomenal job in the ring tonight. Really just did the whole match by himself. Damian Priest came in at the end and handled himself very, very well. We saw, they called it the Bunny Destroyer outside the ring. He did a crossbody Falcon Arrow with Damian Priest. He did a phenomenal job. He earned that entrance tonight. He earned that moment, really doing a very good job of paying respect to the business and being respectful to all the people who have created what we have today in the WWE and professional wrestling. So Bad Bunny doing a phenomenal job with Damian Priest over Miz and John Morrison. Now the main event of the entire night, we are only minutes from it ending. It's still sinking into me. We have a new SmackDown Women's Champion. This honestly was a classic match. This was a fight, just an overall brawl. We have really just two great talent. It was the historical first ever woman of color main event, just continuing the women's evolution. We saw at the bell toll at the beginning, both women seemed very emotional, looking out to the crowd, having a moment, taking it in that they earned this moment, they deserve this moment, and now it's their time to shine. Like I said, a new SmackDown Women's Champion, Bianca Belair, getting a huge win over Sasha Banks, really just being a powerhouse. She lifted her up the stairs and threw her in the ring. We saw just Sasha Banks always reinventing herself, coming out with like this blue and green hair and outfit. We've seen her over the last few years reinvent herself, going from purple hair to blue hair, the standard to the blueprint, the boss to the blueprint. now this new darker character of Sasha Banks. I love it. It fits the new personality of the boss. Like I said, reinventing herself, continuously doing a phenomenal job. The hair whip at the end to Sasha's stomach was louder than I've ever heard that slap happen. I mean, Bianca's done that slap to a lot of people, and that was probably the loudest one. We saw at the ending, and in the finish, Sasha had a huge welt, a line across her stomach from Bianca's hair. So that was just a very, very crazy moment to see. That's what led to the KOD getting the win. Bianca Belair is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. So now I'm going to go quickly from the bottom to the top of the card. If you're just tuning in, my name is Joey Karni. I'm the host of the Angle Podcast. This is the full review and results show for WrestleMania 37, night number 1. The opening match, Bobby Lashley defeated and retained his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. Tamina and Natalya became the new number 1 contenders for the women's tag team titles. They will face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax tomorrow night on night 2 in that tag team turmoil match. Cesaro having the match of the night, defeating Seth Rollins. We have new Raw tag team champions. Omos and AJ Styles defeated Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston of the New Day. A great in-ring debut for Omos. Steel cage match. Braun Strowman defeated Shane McMahon, throwing him off the top of the cage. Just doing a flip off the cage. Huge moment. I think right now Braun Strowman is on track to becoming what he has destined to be, and that is the best big man that WWE has today. Bad Bunny impressing the entire world, doing a great job paying respect to the business with Damian Priest, getting a huge win over The Miz and John Morrison. By the way, John Morrison and Miz having the most ridiculous entrance in the history of WrestleMania. Lip syncing, might I add, terribly to their Hey Hey Hop Hop new single. Apparently it's a hit. I think it's a hit in the head because I don't like it. But I got to give it to them. It is entertaining. They had bunnies, like hundreds of bunnies dancing around the ring, hopping around the ring, hopping in the ring, dancing while they did these salsa moves. I don't know what was happening. It was entertaining for them. Anybody else, I would have turned off the TV. But Miz and Morrison just do a phenomenal job in this role. For some reason, they know how to get under your skin, and this is what they do. This is what they're paid to do. So all props to them. Damian Priest, Bad Bunny getting a huge win over Miz and Morrison. Your main event for night number 1, the historical first ever all women of color main event. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair becoming your new SmackDown Women's Champion in a great back and forth match. Overall, tonight was a great night. I saw some negative comments on social media, but ladies and gentlemen, we are back in business. WrestleMania was in front of 25,000 WWE fans tonight. Big moment. First time in over a year. I think it was 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day since the last live show. So tonight was a phenomenal show. If you do want to check out the prediction and preview show that I had earlier today, not that it makes sense to now, not that the show is over, but I did make some really good points as to what's going to happen next on that show. You can check that out on this same channel you're watching. Just go into the search bar and type in The Angle Podcast. Comes up the prediction and preview show from earlier today. Now tomorrow, I'm going to be doing the same exact thing that I did today. I'm going to be doing a prediction and preview show live right here, same format on YouTube, 5 p.m. live at 5 for the prediction and preview show for WrestleMania 37 night number 2. And at the end of the pay-per-view, when it concludes, probably around the same time we did tonight, I will be doing a live full review and results show just like the one you're watching now for night number 2. 2 streams today, 2 streams tomorrow. Check out the Heath Slater interview coming up on Tuesday. There's still so much to happen. We have huge main event matches tomorrow. We have The Fiend versus Randy Orton. We have the Intercontinental Championship. We have the Raw Women's Championship. We have the triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns versus Edge, and so many more matches to look forward to. I can't wait. Tonight, night number 1 of WrestleMania 37 did a phenomenal job to start off this pay-per-view. I can only imagine what's going to happen tomorrow. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to this video, to this channel. I will see you tomorrow live at 5 for the WrestleMania 37 night number 2 predictions and preview show. For now, I'm your host, Joey Karni. WrestleMania is in full effect, and I will see you on night number 2. Have a good night.
I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype.